let's get this over with. It's taken me this long to finally get up the nerve to watch the first episode this season of Star Trek Discovery, and noted a few things here. They're using the proper Star Trek font in the title, which tells me they've kind of reunified the license, so it's all together now. So there's no real reason for this 25% difference. They're just kind of locked into their mode and they're running it. And I didn't really pay attention to the credits, but I understand Sonequa Martin Green is now one of the cavalcade of producers. Which, fine, now we can blame her for what's going on stream, because now she's one of those responsible for it. Now, before, she had plausible deniability. It's just she's one of the actors that's doing what she's given. Now she's, one of those who has a say. So, wish that was whiskey right now. All right. The director, whose name I'm never going to learn how to pronounce at this point, he's really starting to annoy me, because he's so fixated on these weird camera moves and swooping thing. There's not a steady shot in the whole damn thing. And of course the whole thing with them all walking on the ceiling because the gravity's gone weird. Okay. Do you not know how gravity works? Artificial gravity works. And the gravity generators are in the floors. They're not in the ceilings. There's no reason why they'd be walking on the ceiling anyway. So, but that's another thing. They got 3 different storylines going to this thing. Each one of them would probably make an episode in and of itself. But then you'd be able to sit back and think about it, and we can't have that. No, we got to keep going back and forth before you have a chance to realize how idiotic these things are. In fact, actually 4, because they start off with, them reopening Starfleet Academy for the first time, and then just the Royal Cadets. It's like, I had high school classes bigger. I'm not talking the whole class. I had my graduate class like 1,500 people. No, I'm talking individual classes. Like a history class would have more than people than what they had of cadets. It's like, why even bother at that point having an academy? They were at least just do it via subspace radio or whatever, and everyone would learn at home. We've learned how to do that, can't we? But you probably could have done a storyline on that. I'm restarting Starfleet Academy. Now we got to cram everything together. And we got a call about a space station in distress, and they're spinning around like a gyroscope. Frank, at that size and that speed, it should have ripped itself apart long before they even got there, frankly. But they get there, and they manage to stabilize it just about in time for a big swarm of, they describe as methane ice separating from the nearby Oort cloud. Okay. We're getting into basic science that can be disproven by a 10-year-old with a textbook. Okay. Oort clouds are not that dense. Okay. You get a few chunks here and there, but they're very widely scattered out. Like on the order of almost a quarter of a light year probably apart. You're not going to have just a whole wave of stuff coming in. And yeah, it's just ice. It freezes like 180, something. It's not that cold. It'd be very brittle. It wouldn't do that much damage. And about raising the shields. How about while you're at it, does Discovery suddenly not have any weapons? Point defense? It's like, just shoot him down. Don't just let him come in and hit you. And you also got, they've forgotten about this big deflector dish on the front of the secondary hull. Specifically for clearing out debris. You can blow away some of the stuff. And then, of course, the capper is the captain. And yeah, credit to somebody who's thinking the president decided to call her out right there on the bridge in front of God and everybody. Said, should you be leaving the bridge while you're in an emergency, Captain? No, you shouldn't be. That's why you have an engineering staff. I don't give a rat's ass how many hours you've logged piloting these stupid little things. No, your job is to stay in that damn bridge. You're the captain. You're not expendable. And what happened to their chief engineer, Jet Reno? Why is Stamets, the fungus specialist, running engineering? They don't know what the hell they're doing on that show. They can't keep their own act straight. But we have her go out It's Mikey Spock to the rescue again. And a big, long, drawn out thing where, an example of why you don't send the captain thing. She gets hit by one of these things, shatters a thing. Whoa, gee, transparent aluminum. Why is it just a force field? And then as it shatters and she's tossing around, we get a slow motion thing. Oh my god, I gotta live and then the magic spacesuit forms around her. Why was she wearing that in the first damn place? And then she swoops in like Iron Man and all to pull a piece of debris out. Couldn't they have done that with a tractor beam from the ship? You know, they're inside the shield anyway. Just get a tractor beam, pull it out. No, we got a nice dramatic, fly in. And again, and on a side issue, Mary Wiseman. Again, not one of this is not fat shaming for God knows, and anyone knows my situation. No, you don't. I wouldn't want to do that. But no, this is not healthy. Okay, she was I think skinny in the first season, and now 4 seasons she's ballooned up like the Hindenburg. Okay, no, get her to the gym. Okay, normally there'd be some kind of clause in there. It's like, you got to stay in shape to fit in these uniforms. You can't just keep letting them out. I mean, pregnancy weight is one thing, but this is getting out of hand. This is not going to go away. The older you get, the harder it is to lose it. Okay, so get her ass to the gym, get her a trainer, and start working out on during the off season, and maybe get some kind of. I've seen even these ads for these little pills that melt the fat away while you're sleeping. Try it. Do something. That doesn't look healthy. Okay. And of course, our they them supposed Trill picks the moment when she gets on the bridge to suddenly start essentially talking to herself and having whole conversations while everyone else is sort of, she's doing it again. And yes, I'm going to call it's sorry, visibly female. I'm still a strict believer in basic biology. Okay. Although, considering the mental situation, that's probably the first character that can be called they them because she's got an entire platoon inside her. But, and of course, in something akin to when Bruce and Dick would go down the bat poles in civilian clothes and come out as Batman and Robin, Tilly and what's her face beam over in regular uniforms, appear on the station in armor. What? I don't know. And of course, I promptly walk on the ceiling because this director loves these strange little camera moves. Oh, we can do this. Yeah, they've been doing this since Red Astaire. He didn't hit a number back in the. God. Feel like they reinvented the wheel. But we get our exploding methane ice, which doesn't happen, especially not in the vacuum of space, guys. You need an oxygen environment for this thing. Methane by itself is not explosive, okay? Methane ice is just ice in that situation. It would just shatter and twinkle in the sunlight, but beyond that, you wouldn't get anything particularly spectacular. And also wouldn't be like being battered. It's very fragile stuff, okay? Just like being pelted by loosely packed snowballs, okay? But he also got something going on Kaminar and Saru talking all philosophical and making noises like he wants to go back to Discovery. And then you got another thing with discarded Idris Elba. I'm not even bothered to remember his name at this point. It's not worth it. Going back to his planet somehow. I think one of his brothers came along for the ride one, so they were alive. And something happened on his home planet, and something rather kind of rite of passage for the little nephew. You got a black guy, looks like a Hispanic guy, a little white kid. Supposedly they're all related. Someone doesn't know anything about genetics, I think. I don't know. Or just, I don't know. It's not really worth it because it's just some sort of whoop-de-doo, ippy-dippy bullshit thing they do. But something alarms him. He starts flying up, and whole flocks of dead birds are bouncing off the ship on there. and he manages to get back to Discovery after his ship is hit, and he's thrown over the console, and somehow rocks appear everywhere with these things on board ships. So apparently, loose rocks are a component of Starship technology. Even after all these years, he gets back to Discovery, and this little thing about the ships go by and then disassembles in there and then reassembles in essentially the same damn shape. What's the point of that? I mean, while they're fixing the ship, we get a couple minutes of just spinning around, and it's like, this is like a 30-second dialogue thing, and it's like you're wasting time. You don't have that much time in an episode to begin with, and you're wasting it with these little Fantasia special effects moments to show off how damn clever you are, and also so you don't have to write as much dialogue probably and expose how you really don't know what you're doing. This show, and people are clamoring to say, "Oh, it's finally back! It's better than no." No, it is not better than no Star Trek, because no Star Trek means we can go back to doing it ourselves. That's kind of the whole point of the fan film thing, which I admit I forgot about Monday because I was I was still tired from the DoorDash over the weekend. It's like I was just wiped out. So, and still haven't heard back from Vic on either. They're gonna dig up and find a good one. I was Steph threw one at me, and it's like I was bored to tears at this. No, forget it. But they, managed to. Well, they don't say the station because the station gets destroyed anyway, and they managed to get the crew off, except for that, commander who was, and then gets. It's like big dramatic. They managed to get back on board ship just in time for some big chunk of something to slam on the back of the shuttle bay, just as they jump. And they find the commander of the station squashed under the house. He's talking, that's it. I'm going back on. So it really wasn't a success. The station ended up getting blown up anyway, despite their best efforts. And the Federation president, which finally explained why she wanted to tag along on this little rescue mission. She's evaluating captains, and someone finally calls her out, and it's like, no, you take unnecessary risks. There's some reason a personal loss in your early childhood, and it makes you obsessed. You got to save everybody, but it's like you go nuts, and you are not suitable for this. But they, again, Disco Idris Elba shows up with the ship is on autopilot. Oh my god! And he gets to the bridge, and they go back to his own planet, and it's all shattered and typical thing with all the pieces. Okay, again, folks, the way gravity works, you wouldn't have destroyed a piece. It would all promptly right back together. That's why planets are round in the first place. Okay, because the gravity forces everything into roughly a cylindrical, a spherical shape. Now you can still show a wholesale damage. Just have a big ball of molten lava with huge cracks here and there, but you wouldn't have anything. It would coalesce back together within a couple minutes, probably. Certainly by the time they got back there. So, and again, Star Trek used to inspire. I'd say well over half the people at NASA, if not like closer than 90-something%, are there because they were inspired by Star Trek. Old Star Trek that actually paid attention to scientific plausibility and theories, and would actually run these stories by outside people to make sure they got their science right. Going back to the old days, Callum DeForest would get Star Trek scripts all the time, like Devil in the Dark. Originally, it was not a silicon-based life form; it was something else. And they said no, they got it wrong. It wasn't, he couldn't remember. Callum couldn't remember what it was, but it wasn't silicon. It's like no, and they came up with it. No, how about make it silicon? That's a theory that's been around since the 50s, yeah. And then they're off to the races on that and stuff like that. They would have outside consulting firms come in and look at this stuff. And, nope, that's not right. They would try to make it at least. Like Gene Coon said, he's not looking for possible, he's looking for plausible. in the stories, and that's the thing. They at least make to make it so it's plausible, because they know they're violating scientific laws all the time, but they're trying to do it like Isaac Asimov said, they do it intelligently and plausibly. Like the transporter, the Heisenberg compensators. I mentioned that in there. I think because I saw it in the tech manual, they have no clue what the hell it actually is. It basically, the Heisenberg compensators, because there's a Heisenberg principle in physics, where you can know the location of an atom or the motion of an atom, but you can't know both at once. I don't know. I was never into physics, but the Heisenberg compensator is the compensator, so you can actually. That's one of the things that makes a transporter kind of impossible, is you can't track this stuff. And the Heisenberg compensator is supposed to even that out so you can get someone, break it down the data stream, beam them up, reassemble them. And like I said, I don't think they have the clue what the Heisenberg compensator does, just because they saw it on a reference on Memory Alpha. And just, but they're just pulling off patching stuff together. And you could, and again, there's too many different storylines going on. They should just focused on one, and then they're also cheating themselves by doing this, because you could have gotten 3 episodes out of this, 3 or 4 episodes, and you're cramming all into one. What the hell are you trying to prove? Just focus on the one story. Maybe slip in something on one on the side. I mean, even Next Gen was doing like A and B storylines. You didn't have A, B, C, D, and maybe E. You know, but it's off to the same stupid start as every other season, and I don't think we're getting any better as we go along. So, as far as the concern that it's just anything new, no, this is not just anything new. I am singing the praises of Lower Decks any chance I got, any chance I get to say no. This is proper Star Trek. It's played for laughs, but it's proper Star Trek. It's in the and again, aesthetics count for a lot, and they get that stuff out of the way. It's like when Vic Mignogna talking about why they're be so exact about the sets and the costumes, so that you can then see them, acknowledge them, and then ignore them and focus on the story. There's so much wrong on this in the Voyager, and then the Discovery, and then Picard, because that's not right. It just takes you out of the damn story. And it doesn't help when you start focusing on the story, and it's also screwed up. I think they have handed off the animated stuff to people who actually like Star Trek, and the jury's still a little bit out on Prodigy for right now. I'm liking what I see so far, but I still got issues. Like, I still want to know how you get a character that the design department came up with is clearly a Talaxian and decide he's a Tellarite. That I'm still waiting for an explanation on that. Yeah, they got plenty of good, a Tellarite sleeper ship, and then that's how they went. Okay, that explains how you get a Tellarite over there. That doesn't explain why he clearly is a Talaxian, though. You put him and Neelix in the same scene, and they're gonna, what's your nephew? And I'm gonna die on that hill. Okay, I'm not letting them off the hook on that one. Everything else, it's okay, fine, okay, that's not bad. It's just still, it still works as a show. It's just that one point that I'm not going to let go of, because it's too damn crucial. Mm-hmm. That they can't even get simple stuff like that right. Okay, so you better have an episode coming up of why Tellarite looks like a Talaxian. Or I'm going to hang it around there until they finally acknowledge it. But this one is no, it's still a lot. It's still a lost cause. It's basically part of the whole thing of how Paramount, Viacom just wants content for the service. Their own back catalog is not enough. They got to get new content out there. They don't give a rat's ass how good or bad it is. That's how this show has survived. They need content. And those 2 little words, Star Trek, apparently still mean a lot. So, we don't. Because apparently, it's like we hate to, used to have, very discriminating audience out there that would keep track of this stuff. and be able to, just and say that is so stupid, and readily, denigrate episodes of the original series that weren't up to snuff. And we could do a top 10 worst episodes of Star Trek and actually fill all 10 slots. It's kind of arguing which one to be the top, really absolute worst. Spock's brain is mentioned a lot, but in comparison to a couple others, like "And the Children Shall Lead" is pretty rank too. The alternative factor just completely falls apart about halfway through, and was really kind of unsteady to begin with. The Omega Glory gets cited a lot, So longtime fans are not blind to the faults of the original show. We know where they fucked up here, okay. But there's newer. Again, I really question the discriminating ability of the new fans. That they're, it's great, it's one she was so inspired. No, she wasn't. She was an idiot. She does not belong in command of a work bee, never mind a starship. So you have an entire engineering staff down there waiting for things to do. Not all of them have their hands full right now. One of them's going to be go out there with a phaser rifle in the hull and blast these things, okay? Or for that matter, you're just going out there to pull them in. Send one of those floating R2D2, Wally droids out there. They can grab a piece of debris and yank it off. Probably have far more precision than any human pilot. I don't give a rat's ass how many hours you've logged to the thing, which also is stupid because, when did you have time to log all these hours flying work bees? We followed her career pretty well through here, okay? When did she have time to become some ace, work bee pilot? Like, that would be a bee thing anyway. It's just stupid, okay? The show is just for people, apparently, just like shiny things, okay? You throw a little technobabble at them to convince them with Star Trek. Oh, look, Petey! So, yeah, and I'm not going to give Paramount Plus the click and watch the new one on the service. I'll wait for our sources to come through and I can watch it separately, and that's what I do with commercials. And I guess at this point, as a palate cleanser, go and catch up on Prodigy. But as far as Discovery goes, still just as stupid, and still just as big a waste of time and money and everything else. And hopefully, 4 seasons is enough for these idiots. So they can wrap it up and focus on, try and make Strange New Worlds not suck. I already know it's not going to be, because, let's see. We're dealing with people who will tell you with a straight face that somehow, between the Cage and Where No Man's Gone Before, this ship turned into this ship, same scale. And then when No Man's Gone Before, it turned back into this one. Somehow shrunk down, and you're going to call this a refit. Frankly, I'm of the belief that this actually fit. This is, if they were to go forward with Enterprise and that timeline with Rick Berman stuff, that this is what would eventually be, dubbed the Daedalus class. I'm sorry for those who like the tennis ball and beer can design, but there's a reason why it was rejected in '64. Okay. But this works very nicely as a transition period between the NX and, say, the AMT, because I'm also fitting the AMT class. But size-wise, you want to be a little smaller because this is supposed to be the biggest ship ever launched when it came out. So you want them, comparable. I really should dig out my NX class because the saucer was a little bigger on the NX. But yeah, this would not be 2,500. This would be 1,000 class. This is 1,000. But that's my theory. I'm sticking to it. But that's the kind of mentality we're working with here. And until somebody wakes up and just declares the live action Kurtzman stuff is a separate timeline. Because despite the credibility issues and the total change in characters of Picard and things like that, that's not the same, man. And I don't care how many. When he walks into Starfleet headquarters and overhead, for some reason, he got these holograms, and they show the Disco Prize and then the Enterprise D. There's your hard link to back to Discovery Universe. And it's like, nope, that's it. Separate timeline. We can ignore it. It ain't going to concordance. I guarantee you right now. I'll say that as someone who's been working on it. And again, Bijo said, no, it's just too much there. It's not going to. It's a separate book somebody else can write, but no, not going to in the concordance we know. When we're going to get back to that, I don't know. Probably wait until after the political crap has died down and we can all forgive ourselves. But as it stands right now, no. Okay. Discovery is still the same stupid, flashy special effects and look how pretty pictures we can put up here. Just ignore the story. Can't ignore the story. Because, like Isaac Asimov said when discussing with Roddenberry on the Inside Star Trek album, old Star Trek is like, they at least when they insisted on, on tasking science, okay? When they would, even when they broke the laws of science, they would do it intelligently and plausibly. And other shows, no names please, Discovery, it is clear that the writers and the producers know nothing about science and don't care, and you can't be a self-respecting, watcher and accept it. Okay? I'm going to hold these people's feet to the fire as much as I can because because this is strictly a cash cow for them. They're not into it. Okay. This is a mark on their resume. Oh, you worked on Star Trek, huh? Yeah, not the real Star Trek. Okay, this is the crappy Star Trek. I would rather keep the arguments on. I think I've worked a little bit as far as Lower Decks goes. I've gotten the arguments off of it's not real Star. No, it is real Star Trek. It may not like it. You may not like the animation style or the writing, but everything else it fits in the universe perfectly. It has added a whole new aspect to Starfleet we didn't know about. The grunt works and the lowers that don't do the big flashy stuff. They're just the ones who come and mop up, again, deliver the pizza and the mail and take out the garbage. They're not the big frontline capital ship. They're not the same universe. They're a different division entirely, and that works. That makes sense. You got somebody to do that, and we're seeing who does it. And it's an old, the California class. That one fits in technology-wise with the rest of the Star Trek universe. You figure the way society, in fact, they even kind of implied it why the name is on the back of the saucer because it tows stuff. That's why the big opening fits right there, right under the saucer, and you're looking at the people behind you who are being towed are ones going to see them. So that's why you got the name of the ship on the back, and they got a big colored stripe that indicates this is a services ship. They got other, California class or something. It's only the bigger red ship be a command ship or blue be a science vessel. These guys know what they're doing. They know the universe and they can work within it and apply the rules. And anytime they've had a situation where if it was Discovery stuff, they would have it in there. No, they've done original series stuff. Their Mirror Universe was original series Mirror Universe. When they've had ships go back to around that time period, no, it's been, when they showed Gary Mitchell, he wasn't in a Discovery uniform. He wasn't in that marching band thing. He was in the original, gray, or tan turtleneck. They may have even had to pay Gary Lockwood a little bit of money because of the picture. But anyway, this is starting to get on there. So the dumb show, I cannot recommend. Not even for no, don't even bother. Okay, don't give them clicks. I mean, the first out Kobayashi Maru. Yeah, this whole thing, this whole show is a no-win situation. So Anyway, on that, I'm gonna dig. Hopefully, nothing else Monday. Our situation hopefully is improving now because they apparently have finally gotten to our application for rental assistance. Because I had to go because I got no. You need to add yourself. Oh, okay. No, I didn't amend the application. It means they finally gotten to it. So they're all looking at it. The only problem we got now is it's Thanksgiving weekend, so there's gonna be no looking at it until Monday. Hopefully, we'll get our little last minute save. They'll call the front office and okay, you're fine. But they also sent along a list of apartment buildings to take because it looks like it's not just it looks like it's kind of a glorified version of the Section 8 voucher program. So I'll go over that, and one way or another, we'll be able to sort this whole thing out. And we'll get a more permanent situation than a one-room hotel room, and we can classes join up a bit. All right, on that, PayPal and other links down below. We'll talk at you later.